I am the one who booked the trip. That is the part I keep coming back to. I paid for the room where my wife met the man she loved. I clicked the button and I typed in my card number. I even paid an extra $240 for the ocean view. You guys need to sit with that for a second. I gave my wife a vacation for our ninth anniversary. She used it to see the man who fathered my son. I am a firefighter, and I have done it for 12 years. I work 24 hours on, then I get 2 days off. That schedule is why none of this added up sooner. When I am at the firehouse, I am gone the whole night. Some weeks I pull an extra shift to cover a buddy. My wife had a lot of nights to herself over the years. I never once thought she was doing anything with them. I thought she was home asleep with our boy down the hall. We have a son who just turned 8 years old. I coached his t-ball team the last 3 springs. I taught him to ride a bike in our driveway. I am the only father that little boy has ever known. That fact matters for everything I am about to tell you. The anniversary trip was supposed to be a good thing. Money had been tight, and I wanted to do something big. I picked a resort down on the Texas coast. I booked 5 nights for $3,200 and paid for it myself. It was the most I had spent on us in years. Being a firefighter is the only job I ever wanted. My father was one, and his father before him. I always thought I would raise my boy the same way. I pictured him at the station, trying on my helmet. He did that once, and the photo is still on my phone. I met her at a cookout a buddy threw years ago. She laughed at every dumb joke I had, and I was hooked. We got married 11 months after that cookout. The boy came along about a year into the marriage. I was in the delivery room when he took his first breath. I cut the cord myself, shaking the whole time. I held him before anybody else in that room did. That is the memory that makes all of this so hard. For 8 years, I never had one reason to doubt her. She packed my lunches for shift and kissed me at the door. From the outside, we looked like a family that worked. A firehouse becomes a second family after enough years. Those guys have seen me at my best and my worst. I trusted them with my life on every single call. I just never thought I would need them like this. She told me she wanted to go down a few days early. She said she wanted to relax before I drove down. I had 3 shifts that week, so the timing worked. I told her to go ahead and I would meet her there. I thought I was giving my wife a head start on a break. I was giving her 3 private days with another man. That should have been the end of a sweet story. Instead, it was the start of the worst month of my life. Here is how it cracked open, and it was my doing. I booked the room, so the confirmation came to my email. 2 days before I was set to drive, I opened it again. I wanted to be sure the late checkout was still on there. The reservation had been changed since I made it. The room was now under 2 adult guests, not 1. I had only ever put my wife on that reservation. There was a second name on it now, a man's name. The room had been bumped up to a suite with 1 bed. The dates had been pushed 3 nights earlier than mine. I read that confirmation 4 times in the firehouse. My hands were not shaking yet. That came later. I sat at the table in the bay in a daze. The other guys thought I was just tired from the call. I did not call her. I did not text her 1 word about it. That was the hardest silence I have ever held. Every part of me wanted to call her and scream, but I had a feeling there was more here than 1 trip. So I did the thing that ended up saving me later. I started writing down everything before I drove down. I took a screenshot of the booking and the second name. I saved the old confirmation that showed only her. Then I went back through a year of our bank statements. I found hotel charges in our own city from months back. I found dinners on nights she said she was with friends. I added them up at the station on a slow afternoon. It came to more than $18,000 of our money over 2 years. I printed 2 years of statements at the station printer. I went through them with a yellow marker, line by line. The hotel charges were all in our city, 10 miles out. They landed on the exact nights I pulled my long shifts. She knew my schedule better than I did, it turned out. Every charge was a night I thought she was home asleep. I marked 19 of them before I made myself stop. I kept the marked statements in my locker at the station. I did not want them anywhere she might find them. That folder went everywhere with me for a month. I almost convinced myself the booking was a glitch. But a glitch does not add a man's full name to a room. A glitch does not move the dates to match his days off. Deep down, I knew before I ever drove to that coast. That was money from the account we both paid into. I did not say a word about any of it to her yet. Then I drove down to that resort completely normal. I checked in under my name at the front desk. The clerk gave me a funny look at her screen. She said the room already had a guest checked in. She said the man had picked up the keys 2 days back. I told her there was a mix-up and I would wait. I sat in that lobby for almost 2 hours. I watched families come in with sand on their feet. I watched a dad chase 2 kids toward the pool doors. I remember thinking that used to be me on a good day. My phone buzzed with a text from her about dinner plans. She was texting me about dinner while she was with him. Then I saw my wife walk in from the pool with a man. They were laughing about something I could not hear. His hand was on her lower back, almost touching her butt. She froze the second she saw me sitting there. For a second, she tried to smile like it was all normal. Then her face just fell because she knew that I knew. The man did not freeze because he did not know my face, but I knew his face. I had seen it in an old photo box years before. He was the man she dated before she ever met me. He was the one she always called the one that got away. I had laughed about that line at our wedding once. I was not laughing in that lobby. She sent him up to the room and she sat down with me. She did not even try to deny the trip. She said it had been going on for a couple of years. She said she never stopped loving him, even at our wedding. I asked her one question, and only one, in that lobby. I asked her how long she had been seeing him. She said, since before we ever got married. That is when the math hit me in the chest. Our son was 8. We had been married for 9 years. She had been with this man that whole time. I did not need a test to know what that meant. I needed it for a courtroom, but not for myself. I did not say another word to her in that lobby. I picked up my bag and I drove the 4 hours home. I do not remember a single mile of that drive. When I got home, I slept at the firehouse for a week. I told the guys I was having some house repairs done. That was not true, but I was not ready to talk yet. I needed to think before I did something I could not undo. I sat with it through 3 long shifts in a row. I called my mother from a gas station halfway home. I could not get the words out, so I just hung up. At the firehouse, I worked out until my arms gave up. I scrubbed the truck bay floor at 3 in the morning. Anything to keep my hands moving and my head quiet. One night, the boy called my cell to say goodnight. I told him I loved him and I had to hang up fast. I did not want him to hear his father come apart. After a week of bad sleep, I called a divorce attorney. A guy at the station had used him a few years back. The first thing the attorney asked was what I was after. The attorney charged a $5,250 to take the case. He told me to keep going to work and to say nothing. He told me not to move out of the house just yet. He said leaving could muddy the property side of things. I told him I wanted out, and I wanted it to be fair. Then I told him the whole story, start to finish. He didn't say anything when I got to my son. Then he told me the things that changed how I saw it. He started with the money she thought she was getting. He said she was likely counting on monthly support. He guessed she expected somewhere near $1,100 a month. He walked me through the 10-year rule twice to be sure. He pulled the statute up on his screen and read it to me. He said judges in our state do not bend on that number. Then he told me about the law in our state. He said, Texas makes you clear a high bar for support. He said the marriage has to last at least 10 years. We had been married 9 years and 2 months. We were short by 10 months. He said the court starts out against awarding it anyway. He said unless she was disabled, she would get nothing. She was not disabled, and she worked part-time as it was. So the support she was counting on was never coming. Then I asked him the question that kept me up at night. I asked him about the boy and the child support. He told me to slow down and listen closely. He said, in Texas, a man can challenge being the father. He said it takes a court petition and a DNA test. He said if the test proves the boy is not mine, it ends. He said the court would not order me to pay forward. But then he told me the part that still stings the most. I asked him if I could get back what I spent on the boy. He said no, and he said it plain. He said the law will not pay you back for raising a child. He said the 8 years I gave were gone, money and all. There is no bill you can hand a person for being a dad. And he said I had a clock running on top of all that. He said I had to file within 2 years of finding out. If I waited too long, I could lose the right to file. I asked him point blank what my odds were. He said the law was on my side on almost every count. He said the only loss baked in was the years already gone. He said the rest came down to the paper I had saved. I told him I had saved all of it, every screenshot. He nearly smiled at that the first time all meeting. He said the boy would still have a legal father someday. He said the man she chose could step up if he wanted. That was not my call to make, and not my burden either. So the choice in front of me was a brutal one. I could stay quiet and raise a boy who is not mine, or I could file, prove it, and end it going forward. I want you guys to understand what that week was like. I love that little boy with everything I have. None of this was his fault, not one bit of it. He did not ask to be born into a lie, but the lie was hers, and she ran it for 9 years. I made my choice, and I filed the petition. I signed the petition in his office with a shaky hand. It felt like signing away 8 years of my life. In a way, that is exactly what it was. The attorney also filed a claim over the wasted money. He called it fraud on the community in his paperwork. He said the money she spent on the affair was ours. He said the court could make her repay my share of it. The attorney sent me to a lab for the DNA test. The boy did a cheek swab he thought was for a checkup. That part broke something in me that is still not fixed. The results came back in about 2 weeks. There was a 0 where a number should have been. 0% chance that I was that boy's father. I had known it was coming since that lobby. I checked the lab portal every morning before my coffee. When it loaded, I read the 0 and sat down on the floor. It still hit me like a truck when I read it. My attorney filed the test with the court that week. He had already filed for the divorce by then. She was served at her mother's house one afternoon. She called me over a dozen times that night. I let every single call go to voicemail. When we finally talked, she had changed her tune. Now she wanted the support and half of everything. She said I owed her for the years she gave me. I told her the lawyer was handling all of it now. Then I hung up the phone and I did not pick up again. The case took about 8 months to work through. She hired a lawyer who tried to fight the support angle. That lawyer dropped it the moment he counted the years. 9 years and 2 months was 9 years and 2 months. There was no argument that turned that into 10. Her lawyer said the affair spending should not count, but I had the booking I paid for with my card. I had the suite, the second name, the early dates. I had the $18,000 trail from our own bank account. My attorney laid all of it out for the judge. He had hotel records going back almost 2 years. The judge listened and made the findings out loud. She showed up with the man nowhere in sight. Her lawyer tried to paint me as the one who walked away. My attorney just kept pointing back to the dates. He put the booking I paid for up on the screen. He read the second name into the record out loud. He found the marriage fell short of the 10-year mark. He denied her request for spousal support in full. She wasn't getting a penny. He found the DNA test excluded me as the father. He ended my duty to support the boy going forward. He noted I had no claim to recover the past years. That was the one part that went her way, in a sense. Then he ruled on the money she spent on the affair. He ordered her to repay my half of the wasted funds. He split what was left of the estate down the middle. The reimbursement order came to a few $1,000s. It did not fix anything, but it made a point. She had spent our money to build her other life. Now she had to hand a piece of it back. She did not get the soft landing she had counted on. The whole hearing was over before lunch that day. 8 months of fighting ended in one short morning. I walked out into the parking lot and just breathed. For the first time in a year, my chest felt open. I want you guys to hear where this all settled. The man from the lobby went back to his life. He had a wife of his own that he had not told. She found out about all of it during the case. That is one more home that came apart in the wreck. My ex moved in with a good friend of hers. She got no support, half the estate, and a repay order. She got the man she always wanted, and then she lost him. He stopped taking her calls once the trips dried up. And me, I am still working my shifts at the firehouse. I still wake up at 2 in the morning for the alarm. The hardest part was never the money or the court. The hardest part is the boy I am not allowed to miss. I do not talk about him much, even here. Some wounds you do not put on display for strangers. My buddies at the station know a piece of it now. They never push me to talk about the boy. They just cover my shifts when I need a quiet day. I drive past a t-ball field sometimes on a call. I have to look the other way when I do. People in the comments will say I should hate that boy. I do not, and I never will, no matter what a test says. He is somewhere out there being raised by other people. I hope to God they are good to him. People ask me if I regret booking that trip. I do not regret it, as strange as that sounds. That trip is the only reason I ever learned the truth. I paid for the room where it all came apart, but that same room is where my real life started. I would book it again tomorrow if it got me here. Some nights I look at the divorce decree. Some nights I take it out just to read the findings. 0 support. Paternity ended. The money paid back. It is the only thing in this story that reads clean. Everything else is still a knot I am working loose. I just would not pay the extra $240 for the ocean view. Well, in my opinion, this is why DNA testing should be mandatory in every state at birth. And you know what? Stepfathers can get thrown out like trash in a moment's notice.